Hello, Avery. Welcome to my snug. It's
Hello.
so fun to have you on our first live recorded podcast. And first time we're ever recording it with video. So thank you for being so brave.
So welcome.
Come join me.
I'm just thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me. And I just think what you're doing is so cool. I'm so impressed by your business. And I really just feel so proud of Austin design scene right now. And I'm just thrilled to be here and be able to speak to that.
Well, you're a really, really big part of that. When I think about Austin design and Austin designers, there's a handful of people that I am like, they are putting out work that is my favorite work in the country. And you are one of those. And
That
so,
was so flattering. Thank you.
but I feel you. I feel like Austin's design scene is on the cusp of being taken real seriously. Like we're right there.
We're so close.
And so super excited in the midst of the chaos that is, you know, running a business, being a mom, doing all of those things. You're also in the thick of Kips Bay Showhouse right now. And so the fact that you've taken out an afternoon to sit with us is so kind. Thank you for doing that. But I want everybody to get to know you prior to Kips Bay, so that we get the background story to your fascinating path. And you studied design at University of Georgia. You went to New York to work. Eventually, you launched your own studio back here in Texas because you grew up in Dallas, correct? Walk us through that journey and how you feel that those unique chapters have shaped the work you're putting out today.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. I look back at my childhood and I realize the seed was planted long, long ago. I grew up in Dallas, like you said, in this art moderne home that was full of color and artistry. My mom was an artist. My dad was a banker. So they're kind of like two personalities collided into this like joyful, quirky, lively place to grow up. And so art and architecture had just always been a language that I could speak from an early age. And so it took a little bit of time to realize that. I went to the University of Georgia more in pursuit of a quintessential Southern university experience in an awesome college town.
You want football games.
Totally.
Yeah.
I got way more than that. But after being there for a semester as an undecided major, when I was home for Christmas break, my parents strongly suggested that I take a career aptitude test. And this is where I'm like, this is so cliche, but like the answers to that test resulted in me choosing the career path that I did. It was like architect, interior designer, engineer, all these things that utilize a lot of different sides of my personality and my skill set. And Georgia just happened to have this like really great accredited interior design program within the art school. So that was it. I jumped on that train and graduated in 2009 amidst the fallout of the financial crisis. Decided to move to New York because I was naive, and why not?
That makes sense in the middle of a great recession.
New York has always been a fantasy for me. It's sort of in my mind the crown jewel of like where American chic design like originated, and I just wanted to go and see if I could do it. And I had been connected with the editor from Elle Decor, friend of a friend that I had a 10-minute phone call with, and her advice was, if you're gonna do it, go there and work for the best possible person that you can, even if it's for free, which nobody was paying at that time, especially for first jobs for kids right out of design school. So I landed an internship at Jamie Drake Design, and he, even though I was only there for a couple months, made such an impact on my career trajectory and just exposed me to high design and residential design that I hadn't really studied in school. And then from there, I moved over to work with Amanda Nisbet, who I finished my time with in New York City. And between the two of them, I learned so much about color, and just my passion for this industry was really solidified in those two really unique experiences. So that's kind of how I got into the career in interior design. And then I took a a hard left turn. And I ended up moving up to Portland, Maine. Mm-hmm. My boyfriend at the time was from there, was moving back, was starting this little brewery in the woods. And I was like, that sounds so great. I'm just going to go and I'll maybe work part-time for a designer and help open this thing. And I was like, I don't remember I was very young at this time. And I just I've always had that sort of romantic personality where I'm like, just go for it and see what happens and try things. And I think my parents really encouraged me to do that. I feel really lucky that one, I was allowed to major in interior design and art. Two, they were like, sure, go to New York with no plan and figure it out. Three, when I was like, I'm going to move to Maine, which is way far away from Texas, they were like, sounds like you got to try it. And so I did. And I took a little break from interior design while I was there. I worked for this awesome woman, Addie Fisher, who really taught me about how to run a business. So I kind of learned that aspect of things, not doing a home that is only in custom furniture, sourcing things from manufacturers in North Carolina and lighting manufacturers and all this stuff. So that expanded my, resource knowledge bank. But I also was kind of working on the side in food and beverage and other things related to my relationship at that time. But yeah, Maine was magical. It held a lot for me. I lost my mom while I was living up there. And eventually I just felt that tug of my home state and moved to Austin in 2016 and kind of just dove right in. And here we are 10 years later, almost.
You grew up in Dallas. Why was Austin where you came back to?
Great question. Having come from Portland, Maine, and having lived in Athens, Georgia, I wanted a town that felt similarly motivated towards art and food and just a little bit quirkier, a little bit funkier, a little more casual. Mm-hmm. And Austin felt like the perfect place to try out because it was moving home without being next door to my family. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know anybody here. It turns out once I got here, people come out of the woodwork. Sure. But yeah, I really just picked it. I just thought, well, man, I've always heard about Austin. People love it. The university's there. It's got a similar vibe. So yeah, it just felt like it would be a easier transition from the woods of Maine.
And so that was 2014 that you moved
2016.
back? 2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've actually been in Austin longer than you.
Wow.
I've been here since 2013.
Girl.
And so you're such a local. And so you say that you came to Austin to try it out.
Yeah.
Here we are. Almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And Austin feels like home for you?
Austin feels like home. I love Dallas. People that live here in Austin, a lot of times are like, don't Dallas my Austin, don't Houston my Austin. I love Dallas and I love spending time there. So mm-hmm. I think really Dallas will probably always be home. Mm-hmm. But I think people have many spiritual homes across their lifetime, and Austin is for sure one of those. I'm pretty settled here, but I'm always up for adventure, so never say never on, shifting that plan.
Absolutely. Okay, I would love to hear, and this is actually something I don't personally know going into this conversation, so okay. So it's great. I'd love to hear more about your team.
Sure.
And what is the company structure? How many people do you have working for you, if you have anybody?
Yeah.
And kind of who's on staff, what you might outsource.
Right now we have 4 people helping us. So it's me, and then I have 2 senior designers, and they each manage their own projects. And then we have a junior designer who works across all projects, helping with floor plans, extra sourcing, just pricing, just all of the support that the senior needs. Mm-hmm. And then we have our operations manager, who is sort of the glue that connects all the dots for all those projects and the running of our business. So she does all procurement, she sends out bills, she manages the office. And then she also just pitches in for special projects, like things like Kips Bay, or things like we want to have a sale, or we want to have a Christmas party. Those are the kinds of things that she can also help me out with.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that with a team of 4, you have 2 senior designers.
Yeah.
I think that is something that I am learning more and more with more conversations with designers like this, or when I learn from people at design camp, that actually having senior designers are some of your smartest first hires, aside from operations. If you want to be designing, hire someone else to do the operations. Talk to me about how you got to a team of 2 seniors, who you hired first. Were they one of your first hires?
Yeah.
And if you were starting over, would you rearrange that order of hiring?
It's hard to know if I would do things differently just because I feel like how things are, the way it unfolded was a success. But one of my senior designers was my first full-time hire way back in 2018, early 2018, I think is when Jillian came on board. And she started as a part-time assistant, and just gradually moved up to senior designer where she is now. And I agree. I think having 2 people at the top that can actually take work off your plate is the key to growth and being able to manage the number of projects that we do, because I'm not on all the communication. I'm not the person that the clients are interfacing with, every day. This allows me to really zoom out and lend what my value add is, which is the creativity and the design direction and sort of these like North Star setting capabilities. And so so Jillian has been with me, God, is it like 8 years, I guess, almost, which is so crazy. I'm so proud of her. She came from a different industry too. So like that was a whole evolution of our business together, which was really fun. And then I hired an operations person, and that was so key. I mean, that changed my life, because this person came in also from a different industry and was like, have you ever heard of Slack? Have you ever heard of Asana? Task management, like all these systems that we just didn't have, because it was just me and at the time an assistant, and I didn't really know. I didn't work for large firms or large corporate environments that taught me how to structure a business. So this person really like came in and made things right and allowed us to really get a clearer financial picture of what was happening, what is our process, both creatively and client facing, what's our strategy growth wise, marketing wise. And so that person was in place, and then we hired our next senior designer who started as just a project designer. So the 2 senior designers who I have now, when I hired that operations, I had 2 project designers. And then they just grew into the role.
Got it.
And then we hired Frances about a year ago as our junior, and she's just crushing it. So
amazing. Can you walk us through what your role in like day-to-day looks like? I know you were talking about like it's big picture, it's creative direction, but not necessarily even per project, kind of like for the brand as a whole. Let's say Kips Bay aside, when you're not doing a showhouse, what is your day-to-day really consist of?
No day is the same.
Yeah.
Every day is different in this role. Sometimes I'm HR, sometimes I'm PR, sometimes I'm, just cleaning up the office, taking out the trash. But most of the time, I feel really proud that we have systems in place where I am touching each project weekly with each project manager and senior designer. And so I'm spending a lot of time in internal meetings and client-facing meetings, dialing in the design and presenting the design. So the bulk of my time is this, like I said, this like high value add to each project. I'm not doing any of the pricing. I'm not doing any of that support work, but I'm there to edit and to provide direction. So there's a lot of that. And then there's weekly meetings with my team and my operations manager. So there's just a lot of like repetitive upkeep, check-in management type of work daily. And then, I have like a little bit of time to do some research here and there and shop, but I'm really involved in all the projects. And then the other just huge part of my role is business development. I'm the person bringing in the jobs. I'm the one interviewing clients. I'm the one creating proposals and writing budgets and making sure this aligns with our goals. And so that takes up a really big chunk of my time too.
Technical question, sorry. Your senior designers are doing all of the design for that. You're overseeing it, of course. You mentioned that you are doing the presentations. Is that correct?
I'm there.
Okay.
I'm there. Usually my senior designers are actually doing the presentation.
Cool.
They're the ones like, here's the living room and here's why we thought this and this. And I will pitch in when I feel like my voice is needed or
Yeah.
I need to like push an idea over the edge.
You need the little sprinkle on top.
Yeah, the convincing. So, yeah, and then, as it's client specific too and project specific, and some projects are just too big for one person to present the whole room. So we'll or the whole project, so we'll switch off. But the senior designers are at a point where they have my full confidence to be able to take the reins on that stuff.
It's amazing. That's an amazing gift you give them to let them run it and also present it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the more you let people do things, the better at it they get. So this only helps me.
Okay, other presentation questions, because I don't think I've ever seen one of your presentations, and I would just die to, because I love your print materials so much.
Wild world.
But for your design presentations, do you guys present whole home, top to bottom, like full construction all the way to furnishings in the first presentation? Do you guys space it out? And then also you said some projects are so big, like not one person cannot present the whole thing. Do you guys ever break your presentations up into like day 1, day 2?
We find that our clients have like a 90-minute attention span. And so if it can't fit in 90 minutes, it's another day.
Got it.
And that's honestly same for me. Like the creative output is so intense in our work that I start to I get slack, lose feeling in my face if we go past, 90 minutes, 2 hours max. So yes, we break our creative process up into 3 really defined chunks. So we have our look and feel presentation, which is the right brain, left brain presentation. It's the function. So we're all trained interior designers too. So we're like doing all the drawings, we're doing our floor plans, we're talking about the structure and how the space functions from a design and spatial point of view. And then we're pairing that with a mood board that gives an overall feel, emotion, example of color palette, materiality. And so with those 2 things combined, I have always felt like this sort of sets the direction for the project. And then we will get sign off on that and move into the sourcing phase. I've never been someone that can just present the whole home top to bottom with construction materials and furnishings. I can't work that way. So we do it where we present everything that's attached to the building first. We really prioritize working with contractors and architects. So we're usually working on a team project where there's a major construction element that requires answers sooner than we're ready to pick the sofa fabric. So that's kind of how we work. So we'll do the construction presentation, which is, wallpaper, lighting, hardware, tile, anything attached. And that's the filter for it.
Yeah.
And then we move on to furnishings after that. And to get specific on your question, we're usually presenting one option for all those things, which I know is a big hot topic in your podcast. And a lot of people do it a lot of different ways. But we feel like because we've spent so much time on the front end developing the direction and the North Star for this project, once we present our construction selections, there's not a whole lot of need for multiple options because we have a budget and we have a direction and we know that this thing we're presenting is aligned with that. So typically we'll get feedback on that and there'll be a few things that we need to find alternates for, but ultimately it saves us a lot of time and the clients typically sign off.
Okay, next question. I'm going to ask this because I ask everybody. I want to know about your pricing structure.
Yeah.
Are you guys hourly, flat rate? But then I also, knowing that you only present one concept, are you guys charging for revisions? How does that fit into that? So let's start with just a basic question.
Yeah.
How do you guys charge?
We charge hourly. That's how I was taught, and it has worked for me this whole time. And so we charge hourly for any time we're touching the project. I currently don't separate it into procurement or track any of that. It's just straight
Same number.
hourly,
All across.
same number all across. It, is tiered based on who's touching the project. So I bill operations at a lower rate than I'm billed, but it's just pretty straightforward. And then we charge a markup on the goods that we purchase for the project. We've tinkered around with flat fee, and we've thought about offering some different services, and that's something that we're currently working on. And that's pretty exciting to think about formulas, etc. But that pricing structure has not changed since day one. Obviously, we've gone up in price. The thing that has changed that has made a huge difference in our firm is how we are able to estimate and communicate what the all-in cost is going to be for the clients from the beginning. Because I think that's where I have personally gotten in hot water before. And I know other designers struggle with that, and clients really struggle with that. There's so many times where you can't say what a job is going to cost.
Yeah.
So I have spent a lot of time trying to answer that question. And I think we've gotten pretty good at giving a very accurate target that we've been hitting in, the jobs over the past 3 years.
And so just to make it crystal clear, throughout the entire project, all the way to install, it's still just hourly.
Yeah.
And if you have your senior designer and your junior and you all on site for something, are you billing each of those hours? You are. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Time is money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're investing our energy in your project, or if we're doing something that you would have to do, we're charging for it.
Yeah. How do you guide your team to commit to tracking every email time, like all of that time? Because I think people's biggest reluctance to say, oh, I know we're profitable, or like I know what it costs to do this, but they're not actually tracking all that time.
Oh yeah.
How do you guide your team of women to like be on top of it?
Yeah. Well, it's taken a lot of training. I'm the worst at it, so I'm not leading by example. I can tell you that. But we just require everybody to record 40 hours a week. And that's how I know that you're fulfilling your contract with me as a full-time employee.
So your girls bill full 40 hours
They
a
don't
week.
bill 40 hours. They record 40 hours.
Got it.
They're probably at 70. My seniors are at 75% billable about.
That's a
70%.
number.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
This year has been slower, which we'll get to that, but that is our goal. And so they know they've got about 2.5 hours per day or an hour, whatever, to work on internal ACD stuff, and all the rest of their time is being billed. And that's also like a signal to me if Jillian comes to me and she's like, I can't bill more time to this project. I'm done with this thing. Like, I need more work. That's how I know how we're
ready for another project.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, before we get into Kips Bay, one last question. Sorry.
No, yeah.
How many projects are you guys typically, like, what is a sweet spot number for you to be holding? How many projects are you holding at one time? Obviously in totally different phases.
Yes.
But for a team of 5, including you, what is that number?
I think a sweet spot is like 8.
Okay.
If I can have each senior designer managing like 4, and maybe I'm managing a side project, and maybe our junior designer is even like trying her hand at managing a small project. I think 8 feels really good.
Okay.
That just bandwidth wise, I think creatively, and how we have our process set up for our check-ins for each presentation and how that pacing goes, that's about as much as we can handle. Now, the difference is this, there's like a scale thing happening where the bigger projects, we can achieve a lot more in the same pace if there's more content.
Right.
And the smaller projects require like the same amount of time and effort. So that's where it gets a little hard. The 8 projects, it's like, well, what is that scale? And if they're all at the same time, that's not possible too.
Right.
Like, they need to be staggered in phases. But I generally say like each designer should have 1 to 2, like either full gut renovation or a new build. Each designer should have a furnishings only project. And then each designer should sort of have like a fledgling kind of 1 room, sort of smaller size one. So that's kind of the goal.
Perfect.
Yeah.
As you have been listening to this podcast, you have heard a wide range of software recommendations, tools for sourcing, invoicing, time tracking, and beyond. But if you've tried piecing them all together, you've likely ended up with a system that can feel disjointed, and you are not alone. The truth is, it is not you. What you needed just didn't exist. Until now. Meet Materio, Materio. A powerful operating system built specifically for interior design firms. From the first mood board to the final installation, Materio brings every phase of your project into one streamlined, intuitive platform. Procurement, client billing, task management, it's all connected and it actually makes sense. Design smarter, stress less. Try it for free at getmaterio.com. Interior Collective listeners receive 50% off their first month. Okay, let's talk about Kips Bay.
Okay.
Specifically Kips Bay, Dallas, because it's different, and it's like one of arguably the biggest show houses in the country.
Yeah.
And it feels like such a full circle moment for you to be designing back in Dallas. What made you say yes to this?
It really is full circle because when I was working for Amanda Nisbet, I was on her team when she did Kips Bay, New York. And that experience really stuck with me. Just the glamour of it and it felt like, I did middle school theater too.
Yeah.
So it's like the week before opening night and people are like, my costume ripped and blah, blah. And it's just like, it was so fun to problem solve and be a part of that energy in that community that I was like, someday I will do this myself under my own name. And so when I got the call, I just was like, well, I mean, also you don't say no to Kips Bay, and they came calling. And so I just, it just felt right. I mean, if they think it's time for me to do it, I think it's time too. And so, I have always loved the whole concept and was excited to say yes after checking on finances and checking with my family, all that.
Right.
Once that got cleared, then I was like, I can't wait.
Okay, can we talk a little bit about Kips Bay calling? Like, what did that process look like? Was it something, because you work with Caroline Pinkston, right?
Yes, I work with Caroline,
from a PR perspective. Was it something that, like, you had floated to her and you're like, I would like to do this? Walk us through how you get an invitation.
I think I'll just speak to my experience, which is Jean Liu, fabulous, from Dallas, called me to offer me a spot in this year's Showhouse. And we had met and crossed paths when we were both asked to participate in this quirky dollhouse design event in Houston. And we sort of bonded over, applying our own tiny crown molding to a plywood box of 12 rooms, which was an incredibly huge undertaking and really difficult, which could be its own podcast. And so I think just through that, we became friends, and she recognized how much work that was and that we pulled it off in a short amount of time and the deadline. And so that's a really big part of what they're looking for when they ask designers, do you have the bandwidth, the team, the resources to complete something of this magnitude on time and well? And so I was very flattered that she thought, well, if you could do the dollhouse, Kips Bay will be so easy. And she was mostly right about that. So she called, and that's how I got connected to this Dallas Showhouse. I don't know how it works for other designers, but that's how it worked for me. So I think it's like, keep putting yourself out there, keep doing stuff, keep participating, and eventually it's all roads lead to Kips Bay.
Yeah. Okay, so for designers listening and watching, because
I know.
I feel like until you've done a show house, you don't understand what goes into a show house. Can you walk us through the process?
Sure.
Of, okay, so you got the call, you got the invitation. What, from receiving your room assignment to installation day, which we are not yet at.
We're not there yet. It's next week. It's on Tuesday.
I cannot believe you're here. Thank you so much.
This is great. Oh my God. This is good. I'm like live processing, visualizing, and it's going to go great.
Yeah, you're realizing that you absolutely should have said no to me. But yeah. So, okay, talk us through the process of what is the timeline? What does
Yeah.
this really look like?
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than even I realized, and I had done it before with Amanda. They offer you the spot, you receive your room assignment in early August. So Kips Bay, Dallas opens to the public November 7th.
Okay.
Get your tickets. Go see. So early August is when everybody was given their official room assignments. And once you're given that room assignment and you have to sign a contract, you have to pay a fee, you have to do all these things to be greenlit to access your space. Once you have access to your space, you can start work immediately. Some people had their contractors already lined up. They were in there demoing, doing everything. But once you are given the keys to your room, you're responsible for everything all the way through the pencils down day, which is October 30th. So that's all the demo. That's all the design. That's all of the, ordering of the materials, the implementation, all of that, installation, all the way up to styling and keeping your room clean. So,
And then it is also construction, electrical, plumbing, if stuff you need to bring in your own contractor.
you have to bring in your own person for everything. There are a few, exceptions to this rule. Like any good show house, there are sponsors. And so there are some required partners that you need to use for certain elements of your design, which we can speak to. But ultimately, it's really your chance to lean on your own network, which is why I always say, maybe don't do it in your first year of business. It helps to have people that you've built a relationship with to help you out.
The fact that your studio is based here in Austin, and you guys do work in Dallas.
We do work in Dallas, yeah.
So it wasn't a big stretch for you to have a team who was available to do stuff there.
No, and part of the process, like you asked, is you get your room assignment, you start your design, and then you start making all of your asks. So once you have sort of a direction, you kind of start to know, I'm going to need a trim carpenter, I'm going to need cabinets, I'm going to need painter. And so for us personally, we just calculated, well, who is the person that does this the best? And for us, it was a wonderful contractor that we had worked with on a project in Dallas. I called him up. He was so kind. He was so generous. And he gave us, we are actually one of the only firms doing our own GCing of this Kips Bay project, because we just really tried to simplify our design and not do too much. But he gave me all the trades, and he made sure they were available and that they were going to, provide their time and their energy to our space. So that was a huge unlock. And so, yeah, it was natural to kind of use our partners in Dallas and lean on that for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you're saying that he gave you the trades, made sure they were available.
Yeah.
So you as the designer are required to provide these trades, whether that means you're paying them out of pocket or you're able to get them to donate their time or whatever that was. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this could be a massive investment for someone.
100%. It is absolutely a huge financial commitment. And the range varies. I think if you're given a small room and if you're really strategic about how you design and how you lean on sponsors and ask your vendors to participate, you can save a lot. But if you're trying to do something that is really different, or somebody's not in a place to provide free product, then you're paying for it. Obviously kitchens and baths cost more, I think. So I think it just, the range is there. But I would say, if we're talking real numbers, I think a starting cost assumption would be that you're going to invest $50K in this at least.
Wow. And that's in addition to the fee, the participation fee?
That's all in.
Got it.
I think.
Okay.
And if you're strategic, you may be able to come in under that. But I mean, I've heard from people from last year's show house that spent up to $200K. So it's really big. And the bigger rooms, the more photography you have, the more you can get on your investment. So that's all part of the calculation, I think.
And you might not be the person that can answer this question, but because Kips Bay is a charitable event.
Correct. Yes.
you're able to write all of this off as a charitable deduction, or it's a business expense? Like, obviously both are business expenses, but like, does it go towards marketing dollars, or does it go towards
That's a great question.
charity?
I'm going to have to ask my accountant that. I'm pretty sure we can write this off as, well, either way, it would not be taxable because it's a business expense.
Yes.
So I don't know how that works with the added layer of it being for a charitable donation, charitable event. I might have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, well, I'll try to include it.
I know that sponsors and other people donating product, it's definitely a write-off.
Yes,
yeah,
of course. Okay, let's talk about parameters or kind of expectations that the designers have to work within. So I was telling you before we started recording, I had an amazing conversation with Hema Persad from Sagrada Studio, who was at Design Camp this spring. She was talking about the Real Simple house. And she was just talking about how it is a house of someone, like someone donates their house to do this, and they essentially are like, yeah, you guys get to do whatever you want. But there are still there is, at least in that show house, there's criteria of like, okay, this person, for example, has 3 kids, or like, you know, there are still parameters for someone will be living in the space. How does it work for Kips Bay?
So for the Dallas Kips Bay specifically, this is the first time I think in Kips Bay history where they're going to be in the same location that they were last year. And this is not a residence. This is a more commercial hospitality looking space. It's a huge French chateau looking mansion in Dallas. And I think it's more geared towards like private club, a hotel, boutique hotel look. So there's not as many parameters regarding the owner of the building, but there are things that work to preserve what's existing in the building. There's parquet floor that's existing. There's crown molding. There's all these things that if you take it away, you have to put it back kind of thing. So that's a big part of Kips Bay is the room remediation. So, and then regarding like health and safety and fire code, those are also big guideline requirements. You can't do anything that's going to compromise the health and safety of anybody visiting the show house. So like you can't remove sprinklers or cover up lights without getting approval or mess with the glass on the windows, things like that. But otherwise, like creatively, at least for this show house, you really have a really free license to do whatever you want.
So interesting. Well, excited to talk about your creative process with it as well. A couple more like specific questions.
Totally.
How do you approach designing a room that's supposed to be of the moment and like feel like you're pushing design, but also in this like timeless mansion, especially knowing that's going to be seen by like thousands of people? Like, where did you even start this creative process of being like, this is my independent debut at Kips Bay?
It is like a debutante ball.
It is.
That's what it is.
1000%.
That's the best comparison I've heard yet, actually.
It's like your coming out party.
Yeah.
And so, like, how far do you feel like you pushed it? Do you feel like it's signature Avery Cox, or do you feel like I had no limitations? So, like, this was stuff that I've never done, but, like, this is the coolest thing that I could have ever dreamed up.
Yeah. I think I would not say it's the coolest thing I could have ever dreamed up, because for me, there are financial, logistical limitations. And also, like, I'm taking this chance to show off my brand and my inner voice and my perspective on design. And a big part of what I do is I'm rooted in history, and I'm a big fan of classical design and architecture, and almost everything I do is connected to that. But I also have this like big expressive part of my personality that wants to push and wants to try new things. So our room and my approach to design and to the design of this room specifically is this concept of you have roots and wings, which my mom used to always say, you give children their roots and their wings so that they're grounded, but they're able to still fly. So that's kind of like how I approach design, and it's how I've approached this room. And the eternal question is like, how do you create timeless design while still being of the moment, right? And I mean, my philosophy is just if you are producing from your own creative well and you are authentic to what you like and what stirs your soul, then it's going to feel timeless and authentic and of the moment, at least to you and hopefully to other people too.
What I think has always drawn me to your work is just like your incredible use of color. And in such an extreme but also like palatable way. Like it's so cozy, but it's also like, gosh, I would never have thought to like paint it this chartreuse. Like it's just amazing. Do you feel like there are signatures of yours represented in the Kips Bay project?
Our room is defined by color 100%. It is this robin's egg blue, and we've painted all the walls and all the trim in this color. And this, I think, really speaks to what I was just talking about, which is this is an iconic color that has been used throughout history and design, from Marie Antoinette to Madeleine Castaigne to Albert Hadley and Miles Red. And it feels like, talk about a coming out. It's like I feel excited to potentially step into this like lineage of people who have dared use this color in their design. And on a personal note, my mom and my dad painted the entryway and the stairwell of our house growing up in this exact color. So it feels like a real returning home moment for me, and like something that really references my roots, but also the roots of American chic design.
Yeah.
And so we started there, and then we just, thank you for your compliments about my use of color, but we start to build a palette around that. So I love to use a boundary pushing color, and then I tone it down and I temper it with colors that have more gray in them or more brown or whatever. And so we just all together crafted this painter's palette of color, and then kind of decided, well, do we want the sofa to be the chocolate brown or the drapes to be the chocolate brown? Where's the olive green going to go? Where's the forest green going to go? And we just kind of start to, lay out and create the balance for the space. And we were really inspired by this concept of American chic design, this like old New York glamour, tailored lines, the Billy Baldwins, the Albert Hadleys. And so for our furnishings, we drew a lot of inspiration from that look. So I think paired with the glamour of our very voluminous olive silk drapery and the really tailored chocolate brown sofa, all on the backdrop of this robin's egg blue, we're just really excited to feel like this feels tied to history, but a really fresh expression of something new.
I cannot wait to see.
Hopefully it works out.
Are you allowed to tell us what room you have?
Yeah.
Oh, great. What room do you have?
We have a room. It's called the listening room, which, Kips Bay, and this is part, just speaking back to the process, they name all the rooms, which is really so kind because they give you a little nudge.
A direction.
It's really hard to design without a client, as it turns out. I mean, if anyone's designers know this, but when you try to design for yourself, it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So having like a small nudge and a direction was actually really helpful. And that helped us just design this room around the comfort of hanging out. We're not like one of those firms that's going to do some technical, beautiful AV system. Like we're just creating a room where you can hang and lounge and yes, listen to records, but also have a glass of wine and communicate. So we are doing the listening room. The byline or the subtitle of our room is called Blue in Green, which is one of the tracks from Miles Davis's record, iconic record, Kind of Blue. And I loved that riff on that because if you think of Miles Davis, he's like one of the most iconic improvisers of our time, American, artistic, expressive person. And so this color is also blue in green. And so that kind of tied back to our listening room and just this idea of expression and artistic riffing on classical ideas.
So cool. I would love to talk about partnerships again and how that works. Show houses require a lot of collaboration. And there's also just from like having my own brand partnerships on like a much smaller scale, like not like that. There's like a lot of deliverables required for that. Can you talk us through how you approached your vendors to participate in this? And then also you can just give like basic examples of like what in turn, what are the deliverables you need to be able to provide them with, if anything, or is just being in the show house enough?
Yeah. So, I mean, it all starts with the design. There are official show house sponsors. So, like, we already knew we were going to be working with the Shade Store on our window treatments. We knew we were going to be working with Benjamin Moore on paint. So that was already set up. But, you know, we just kind of took the matrix of our design and laid it over what the sponsors offer. And that's how we started to source the actual pieces that were going to be in our space. You know, if there were easy alternates for like our first choice fabric from somebody who was a show house sponsor, we went that route because they were offering to give 20 yards. So that's how we built the core of our design. And then from there, we looked at like, well, what's left over? What do we need to source? What is an absolute must have? And we just started going down the list and making our asks. And in many cases, our vendors and the people we've been working with over the past 10 years were so excited that we did ask and were willing to either donate the goods outright, give us a big discount, or loan something to us. So there's a lot of that too. And so if you're really strategic about it, you can get most of the goods in your room covered in some way. The labor is really the thing that really can drive the cost up. The product has been easier to place. As far as deliverables go, what we've been offering is we will have a source list in our room of our partners. So their name will be there. Their name will be in the Kips Bay, Dallas journal of sources. They'll be dedicated on our website. So we'll have a source list there. We will tag and include them in social media. And then I think the biggest gift of all is we hired our own photographer to do imagery for our space. And we have paid that photographer for the copyright to be able to give our vendors and people who have made major donations to our space the right and the license to use those images for their own marketing.
Got it. And that's hefty
huge.
to get that copyright. That
Totally.
Can I ask who's shooting for you guys?
Stephen Carlish. Yeah, we're so excited. And he has done Kips Bay, Dallas, probably, I think every year that it has been running, which I think this is the 6th year. So he knows the drill, he knows the timeline, and we're just, you know, excited to have gotten a spot on his docket.
Because you install next week, but then it goes live on the 7th.
Yeah.
So there's a week.
There's still a lot to do.
In between install to like, you need your photos. Do you need your photos before it goes live? Or
So the way it works, and this goes back to, I feel like I only partially answered your question about the process because it's a really long one.
Yeah.
And like, we're still sort of in the middle of the design because our install is next week. But there's like the start, and then there's a lot of time in the middle where you're doing stuff. There is a designer check-in, which is incredibly intimidating, with the design director of, you know, all of Kips Bay, where she's like, what's your plan to finish this room? Because if it's not finished, we'll seal it off and no one will see it. So it is like, it's pretty intense. So we had that last week. We have a plan to finish. They will assign you an installation window. So you have 4 hours to get everything in, all your big pieces in. We've been doing construction this whole time. So like our built-ins are in, our tile is in, our paint is in, our lighting. But none of our furniture, our rugs. So each designer gets assigned. Because you can imagine like 26 designers all delivering willy-nilly is chaos. So we install, and then on the morning of October 30th, you have to be completely done with your space. And it's like a pencils down, test over moment. They walk around, they make sure it's good to go, and then you kind of have to like hightail it out of there. And that's when the sponsor photography comes in. So from October 31st through the 2nd or 3rd, no designers are supposed to be there. That's when Kips Bay does their own official photography. That's when like the house sponsors do their own photography. People come, there's, you know, so there's a lot kind of going on behind the scenes. And then you can come in and bring your own photographer on November 4th. So it's like 5 days later, I guess. style. That's when you get your imagery. Mm-hmm. Then you get out of there. And then between the 4th and the 7th, there's like a press walkthrough day. There's opening party. And then the public opening is on the 7th. So between the shoot and opening day, our photographer is going to edit and turn over to us like 2 images so that we can quickly print cards and things, like all this other marketing collateral that is also a really big part of this endeavor.
Right.
That people can take. And like, I was like, okay, so how many should we get? 1,000? Like, that seems like, it's like, you need like 8,000 cards. Like, there are going to be so many people coming into this room and taking, the picture, whatever you're going to give them. So it's like, that's a whole other expense.
Cards?
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So it's just a whirlwind.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. More questions. Okay. So there is no way around it. This is an incredible investment of resources, not just financial, but also of your time. And when you described how your studio is run, I didn't quite see where Kips Bay fit into that. Yeah. Did you design all of Kips Bay personally, or did you bring in your 2 senior designers to help with it? Like, how did that workload work, and how do you fit Kips Bay into your regular workload?
Yeah, it is, this year was right for us for so many reasons. One, I think across our industry, things have been slower, and we don't have those 8 projects that I was talking about that our sweet spot is. We've got great projects and we're busy, but we had some bandwidth. And so I was able to offload. It really has been a true team collaboration. I came up, we operated as if this was a real project. So I came up with the initial concept, and I came up with 2 schemes, and I've been giving my team the option to weigh in all along the way. And so everybody voted for scheme B. So we went with scheme B, and we've been building our design around that. And, we're just using our creative process. We've had check-ins. We have floor plans. We have technical drawings. We did a construction round, and then we did a furnishings round. So we're just following our process, and it's working. And so I'm able to, the 2, because of the crunch of time, the 2 senior designers are sharing what their typical role would be on our project. So I set the direction. I'm like, I like this fabric, this design of this sofa. Like, I need a side table option. I need a mirror option. And then they're just bringing all this stuff to me. And so we're able to make decisions as a team. And everybody's pulling their weight. Everybody's weighing in. I mean, just this morning I sent out a text like, please vote for the stain color because we have to stain our cabinets like today. To make room for bringing in all our stuff on Tuesday. So, it's been really fun, and I'm really proud of how we've tackled this creatively as a team.
So when the show house opens, there's tons of media attention. I mean, this is like the most covered show house
for sure
in the country, if not the world.
I mean, at least, one of the 3 Kips Bay.
Right.
Kips Bay gets a lot of attention.
How do you and your team and your publicist, how are you guys thinking about this from a PR standpoint of like, how are we going to maximize this? What are some things that you're, besides 8,000 cards, how do you envision kind of like rolling this out on social? How do you envision the storytelling of this?
I wish I had a better plan in place. There's still time, but
tons,
like 4 days.
4 days.
What's really nice about being part of the Kips Bay machine is that there is press included. There's a lot of structure set up for you. They do not want you to fail. They want you to feel like your investment has been worth it. They want everyone to see the work. They want everyone to see the show house. So there's a lot built in, and they have a whole PR team working with them where they require you to submit a room description, submit a room title, find someone to do a rendering of your space. They will photograph, they will share. There's a media partner, which I think is Gallery Magazine. And so your work will be published in that magazine. So there's a lot that's already built in. What we're doing personally is just revamping our website. We're excited to use these images. The work for me is the design. Like, the design is the tool. The design is the thing that we're going to be able to share. Like, that's the real investment in marketing, is doing something that I can look to say, this is our signature. This is what we're capable of. This is what we haven't been able to do in the past because we've been limited by clientele or finances or a space or architecture, whatever it is. So we're excited to just share those images. Photography is, of course, our biggest personal investment, photography and styling. And we're going to take those images and do a lot with them across our channels of website, social media, all of that stuff. So,
do you feel like, again, it hasn't even launched, you haven't installed yet, but do you feel like even since just getting your name on the roster, that editors and brands are looking at you differently?
I definitely think so. I think that Kips Bay holds a prestige. At least it does personally for me. I look at anybody who has done it with great respect and admiration, and it puts them on a different level. And now that I'm in it, I see why. Because it requires an extreme amount of confidence. It requires a lot of hard work, a lot of negotiation and collaboration. A lot of heads down time, working quickly, being clear, all those things. And so if you're able to pull it off, it's a really big achievement. And I think the people that are writing about this, that are producing media, editors, everybody, they know what it takes to do a room successfully. And so I think there is this amount of recognition that comes along with being in one of the Kips Bay classes, because it says to the world, like, I'm capable, I'm not going anywhere, like, go ahead and invest in me. I'm here to stay, I'm here to say something with my work. And so I think that's the beauty of what Kips Bay really provides. Like you said, it's a coming out party. It's like, I'm old enough, I'm wise enough, I'm ready, so bring it on. And I think it has been really fun. Like, when I tell people that I'm doing it, they know what it is. And editors for sure know that. And, you start getting invited to stuff you didn't even know was out there. So, in that respect, it's been really fun, and definitely I've noticed a shift.
And well, just get ready. You buckle up, because you haven't even launched yet. A show house is such a feather in the cap.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to someone who's considering, whether it's like pro show house or like proceed with caution? Like, what would you say are kind of like the three big things for someone to consider before saying yes?
Well, my experience has been extremely positive. So I'm pro show house. I think it has to make sense for what you want to do with your business. Is the show house you're thinking about participating in local to you? Does it make sense for where you want to have more work? Is it going to get you press that you want? Kips Bay, I think, can apply nationally. But for me, like, the fact that it's in Dallas, a place that I want more business, made complete sense. It was a huge, smart investment for me. I mean, I hope. But I would say, one, make sure it makes sense for your growth plan and where you want to go. Two, if you decide, I want to do it, plan on it costing double and taking double the amount of time that you think it's going to. And make sure that you have those resources in place to be able to complete it to the level of whatever you think is acceptable, because otherwise it's going to be extremely stressful and disappointing.
And also, not just the time that it takes for that, but how that's going to affect your client projects as well.
Yes.
So you're not leaving clients hanging in order to get your show house done. Yeah.
And now I get why there's not a whole lot of upstarts jumping into especially the Kips Bay pool. It takes a lot to produce. It takes relationships and partnerships and just time kind of understanding the way things work, but also like savings and a team. I would say my number one piece of advice is don't do it alone. If you are still a business or a designer that's operating independently, I think it would be extremely difficult to do this by yourself.
Got it.
There are people that have done it and have done it successfully and well, but for me, I couldn't have done it.
What do you feel like you've learned about your studio through this process?
I don't know if this is a popular answer, but it doesn't matter. It's authentic to me. I feel the most confident I've felt as a designer since I graduated, because I went into this with, quite frankly, like a good amount of imposter syndrome and fear and like, oh, can I really pull this off? Can I make it work financially? Is my team going to enjoy this? Are they going to step up and like participate? Is this going to like annoy, it just, there were a lot of unknowns. Mm-hmm. And I was just prepared to make asks and have people say no, and just it to like crumble into not something that I was proud of. And let's just say I did not have an abundance mindset going into it. And now that we're like, 4 days away from installing, I'm just like so impressed with my team and with what I've built, and that we have this like machine that can produce something like this that not only is something I'm proud of, but that feels like a real artistic expression and a real partnership and a collaboration, and celebrates craft and history and color and all these things that we care about. And it didn't destroy us. Like, it has only made us stronger. And I don't think you get very many chances in a career to step back and take stock of everything that you've done to get here. And this has really provided us with that opportunity to, and me especially, to look back and say like, oh my God, from the girl who was like drawing floor plans in her bedroom, which I know is so cliche, everyone says that, just becomes a designer, to like getting 6 coffee runs on my first day at Amanda Nisbet Design, to like, moving to, it's just like, it's crazy that I'm here. And so I'm just really proud of myself and of my team. And I'm just excited that like I'm in this industry and I'm in this business and this career path that really suits me and really utilizes my gifts, and I'm really happy doing it. And I'm just excited that other people see value in it. And so I don't know. Yeah, it's just been an extremely validating experience. And I think it was, like you said, it's a feather in your cap, but it's also just like this official permission to say, I'm serious about this. I'm here. I have something to say, and I'm going to say it loudly and with confidence. And so like, let's go.
Well, you should be so proud. It is a huge deal. I'm
excited.
Wait to see it. Okay, before we wrap up, last question I ask everybody. Aside from Kips Bay Showhouse, what else is on the horizon for you? Like, what do you see coming next? If you have something in the pipeline that's exciting that you can share with us, please share. But if, now that you've gotten through this huge milestone, what's next?
More of the same, but with more authority, I guess. But no, seriously, we are very excited about some of our current work. We have kicked off a couple of projects that are both historic renovations. And like I said at the beginning, I really prioritize working with architect design homes and partnering with architects in homes of historical significance. And so this is just like really exciting for us to be working on some of these homes that are historic in nature, are getting a great renovation, and they're extremely different in styles. And I think that's what's so fun about what our firm does specifically, is because we focus on architecturally significant homes, that doesn't mean we're only doing modern design or, you know, traditional castles or what. It's like, it's everything in between. It just needs to be good architecture. And that just gives me a chance to try out all the different facets of my creative design interests. And so we're working on a project in West Texas with really renowned architects. That's really exciting. And then we're working on one here in our hometown of Austin, over in Clarksville, with a repeat client, and with rooms like the ballroom and the parlor. You know, it's going to be a big one. So we're so excited about all the.
I didn't even know houses in Clarksville were capable of having
They're not. We just call it that.
And parlors. So I can't wait.
So yeah, we're just excited to keep working with clients that appreciate what we do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This has been so great. Thank you so much. I still cannot believe you're installing in 4 days and you are still sitting here in my family room having this conversation.
We are just thrilled to be here. I'm so honored that you asked me to come speak to this, and I'm so excited to be part of this first visual podcast. And I think just keep it up. People love hearing from you, and it's just such a nice place to go in this digital world to talk about our little niche industry. So thank you for having me.
Oh my God, Avery, this is so exciting. You guys, she literally just called me and she's like, we have to record this. I am in such a time crunch. I want everybody to know how it's going. So Avery, how is it going? How much time do we have? What's going on?
The countdown is on. I thought we had to be done at 6 p.m. tonight, but I actually found out there's a security guard overnight. So like I could work all night long if I needed to, but the drop dead date is tomorrow at 8 a.m. and the house is a frenzy. It's actually been so fun to like walk around and like peek in people's rooms, but I also am trying to stay out of the way, but I'm also excited. It's kind of like, it's like the night before opening night. Like it feels like the energy is crazy. And there's just like, there's so much going on. Anastasia. So my team arrived on Monday and we started installing our room. And of course, like all these things go wrong. So the like beautiful Forbes and Lomax switch plates that we had sent here that had been sitting in our room for a month, like disappeared, aren't installed. Our amazing rep like went to the LA showroom and found the exact same order they happened to have in stock, overnighted it to us. The electrician installed it yesterday. We have tables missing. And so I've just been like running around Dallas, like getting all the things that we do need, but that have been missing, and just filling in. And like right now I'm unpacked here. I'll show you around. I'm unpacking like
over your shoulder, like it looks ready. Oh, until you turned around. Okay.
Here's the one vignette that I'm like, oh, this is getting there. And yeah, so there's just like boxes of stuff everywhere. We have to style this entire bookcase, but like the bookcase is in and the paint touch-ups are done and our furniture is all here, and we were able to find replacements for the things that we were missing. The art is up. And so now I'm just like, I went to the flower market. I got flowers. We're styling. But like, I'm just going to sneak peek you. Like their room looks freaking awesome. And everybody is bringing their A game. And it is just like, I feel like it is such a fun club to be in. But like walking around, there's like, I keep overhearing conversations where they're like, the cord is too short for your chandelier to be hung. Or like, we have to cut a hole in your wall to like run an exhaust vent for the oven or whatever. Or like, oh, you didn't follow the rule to like keep your sprinklers uncovered. So we have to rip out your ceiling drapery. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so intense. It's so intense. Everything's going to be fine. Everyone is going to totally crush it and it's going to look amazing. But there is this like last minute fervor that is really both fun, anxiety producing, scary, but it's like I said, it's like the night before opening night, and there's kind of a bonding that's happening, and everyone's been so nice. Yes. And like at the end of the day, we're like, oh, we're doing this for the kids and it's going to be amazing. And there's a great motivator behind all this work. And it's been, I think it's been really positive and fun, but the stress is real right now.
Which makes the fact that you were able to get on a call with me to do this insane. Can you share 3 favorite details in your room? Can we just get a little peek?
Yes. Okay. Details. Well, Pookie is a sponsor of our room this year, and we kind of last minute added these adorable little battery operated sconces. We love them so much, and the color turned out so well. We have these gorgy upholstered pillows that are upholsterer made that are going on our custom sofa. Hello. So I love this moment a lot. The Shade Store helped us with this drapery, which I know we talked about, but you can kind of see there's this brush fringe on the outside. There's this gorgeous little cording right here. And then the back side is this coup-free turquoise stripe. And then we have the Samuel & Sons tiebacks down here that are just huge. So that is just so extra drama, and I love that. Okay, number 3, we had this built-in made by, excuse the mess. We have this built-in made by a woodworker here in Dallas who was so amazing, and we made it in tiger maple and then worked really hard to get the stain right, which was very difficult doing it from afar. And then P.E. Guerin made us some custom finished hardware pieces and donated them to our space. So I love the shiny nickel, burnished nickel on the tiger maple finish, and then inset balanium modeled tile on top for the countertop. So yeah, there's just I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it. Okay, wait, one more detail because I'm looking at it. Okay. The piping with the Houlet's little rosette on the velvet. It's yellow leather piping with pink velvet and the little rosettes. And I die. I love it so much.
Oh my gosh, Avery, it looks amazing. I know that the frenzy that's happening probably is so fun, but I don't see any holes cut in your walls. So for you guys are going to make it. You're looking really pretty right now. You are sitting cool, calm, and collected.
So chill over here.
So you got one more, you got built-ins to style and a few last details, but you got it. I'm literally talking to you. It is 2:15 and you're meeting with the stylist at 2:30.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are in the final hours. Okay, well, everybody stay tuned because we're going to make sure you get to see the full reveal as well. Avery, thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
I cannot, please text me updates. I'm dying.
Okay,
I'm dying.
But
it's sensational. It's absolutely magnificent. I cannot wait to see more details.
So much, Anastasia. This has been so fun. And thanks for checking back in to see progress.
Yeah. Okay, good luck. Go get to work.
Okay, talk to you later.
As we wrap up today's conversation, I just keep coming back to this idea. Avery's Kips Bay room isn't just a beautiful space. It really is this culmination of so many chapters she shared with us today. From her color-soaked childhood home in Dallas to those formative years in New York, her detour to Maine, her move to Austin, and the studio she so thoughtfully built. All that experience and discipline, intuition is present in this one project. Kips Bay Dallas really does feel like her debutante moment, a confident, unmistakably Avery expression of American chic design. You can hear the through line so clearly. A deep respect for history, a love of color that feels both daring and familiar, and a studio structure that gives her the freedom to stay in her zone of genius while her team executes at a very high level. This Kips Bay listening room is a celebration of all of that. Roots and wings, as she put it. Avery, thank you so much for letting us into the real story behind this milestone and for being so honest about what it takes to pull something like this off. And if you're listening and have the chance, go experience the Kips Bay Dallas Showhouse in person. It's truly a masterclass in creative risk and execution. For more in-depth analysis of this interview, exclusive downloads, and extended takeaways, don't forget to join us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Interior Collective. I'm Anastasia Casey, and this is The Interior Collective, a podcast for the business of beautiful living. Are you running your design firm with a patchwork of tools? Material brings it all into one intuitive system finally. Try it free at getmaterio.com and get 50% off your first month as an Interior Collective listener. That's GETMATERIO.com.